Welcome back to the Binge Warmers. This is Beyond the Binge. My name is Steven.
My name is Hopper, the tire dropper. Today we watched F1.
F1. Oh, the tire makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
That lady dropped the tire thing. I was like, you idiot. You dropped the tire.
I could have done better. There was a guy in the freaking movie theater who goes, there was like a big wreck, spoiler. He goes, he just didn't have the right tires. He said in a completely quiet movie theater.
Silent moment.
Everyone heard it. No,
that
but we
man
did
knows
watch
F1, you know what I mean?
He did.
He did.
He did.
Knows ball.
But yeah, we did watch F1 this past week, guys. It was super good. It was a good classic summer flick.
We rating this out of 10?
I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like 7.
Yeah, but you're always harsher anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I really liked it. I thought Brad Pitt did a good job. The newcomer did pretty good, whatever his name was.
Yeah, the character's name was Joshua Pierce.
He was good.
Called him JP. He's like, stop calling me JP. He's like, it's a nickname, man. You can't.
Yeah, you can't
choose the nickname. He was so like exasperated. He's like, come on, man. You don't understand. You understand how nicknames work?
If you've seen Top Gun Maverick, this is that. Because same composer, same director.
Hans Zimmer does an amazing job on the
crazy
soundtrack.
Score.
And that's what I was telling Hopper. I wish I had gone in not knowing that the same director had done Top Gun that had done this one, because you see a lot of the similarities, and I couldn't help but look for the similarities, and I was just like, I need to stop doing that. I just want to watch the movie kind of thing. But they weren't bad similarities. There was enough organic and originality to the movie that it didn't really hurt the movie at all. Yeah. You know,
a couple things I noticed, and I'm not saying these are bad things, but they are things. Brad Pitt's a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu. Like, he never once has a bad moment. The only thing bad is like
when he first auditions.
Well, yeah,
he can't drive that car for you.
Okay, but that's one. You know, he hadn't driven F1 in like forever, and then the next time he gets in the car, he literally smokes the. Yeah. No, not even the next time. Like the lap where he like burns out. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I already told you. I would say go watch the movie in theaters though.
Yeah, 100% worth watching in the movie theater. Can't recommend it enough. Go watch it.
Sort of like how Top Gun was really like visceral in the theater.
Yes, it's so good. Yeah,
I didn't watch it in theaters.
It was funny too because before we get back on that point, I went and used the restroom at one point because I thought it was going to be a race, right? And I was like, okay, I'll pee at the beginning, and then when it gets real good in the race, I'll have to come back. I come back and I was like, okay, is it going? And you were like, it's a montage. I was like, I freaking love montage moments, man. That's my jam.
That is your jam, yeah.
So I missed half of the montage. So don't go to the movie but don't go to the bathroom halfway through the movie. You'll miss a montage.
But no, so he does wreck the car at one point. He wrecks like when he's trying to qualify or whatever. Yeah. But like that lap, I'm pretty sure he beats the guy's score.
I think he was on point after that to start beating his time once he got used to it a little bit. But I did like too because we noticed Joshua Pierce, the rookie, tells the lady, "Hey, it's doing this with the car." I can't remember the jargon, and she goes, "Early, late." He goes, "Yes and yes. I don't know exactly when." Yeah. She's like, "This is what you're out there for, is to tell me when." And he's like, "I don't know. I can't. Just fix the car." He goes out there and goes, "It looks like it's doing this early and it's doing this late." And the lady was like, "Okay, I can work with that kind of thing." Another similarity between Top Gun and this that I really enjoyed, I even talked about it when I was talking about Top Gun in one of our previous Beyond the Binges, was I like that there's no enemy racer. You know, they're all just faceless cars. You're just the race and you're finding yourself.
The only real villain, and I wouldn't even call him a villain, but it's like the executive guy on the board who he falsifies reports that he like says the parts were made in a different
He's
facility.
Essentially trying to build the Apex racing team up as much as he can so he can sell it for top dollar. And
he's going to keep Brad Pitt on, so he kind of lets Brad Pitt in on it.
And then Brad Pitt's like,
I'm Brad Pitt.
I'm Brad Pitt. His laugh is like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood laugh. I was like, there's no way that's his real laugh. That's not your real laugh.
This felt like, okay, so yeah, he's a Gary Stu or Mary Sue or whatever. Yeah. Like, I think he goes to the lady and he's like, build the car better. She's like, no, I can't do that. Win a race first. And then he wins the race. Okay, I'll build the car better. Yeah. And she just builds the car better. You know what I mean? He goes to the pit crew like captain and he's like, we're doing my plan. I'm getting soft tires. And the guy's like, no, I'm the boss. And he's like, no, I'm not driving unless I have my tires.
He just sat there and waited.
Yeah. So he just keeps being like, no, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. You need to let me do everything.
I think it worked in this scenario though because he's a man. Well, just kidding. I think it worked though because a lot of them, old dog. Yeah, everyone was doubting him. Like, no, you're washed up. You don't know anything. He's like, I never left racing. Experience, guys, and I want us to win. Like, I'm only here because I want to win, you know? So it does work because he ends up being right about it, you know?
But I think it, like, if I was making this movie, I wouldn't change very much, but I would change maybe, like, instead of focusing on Brad Pitt, you would focus on the younger guy.
Yeah.
Because he does have an arc of, I am a cocky asshole who thinks I can drive. He's like a rookie, so he's like a good driver, but he's just like unexperienced. He doesn't really know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And then Brad Pitt's character comes in as like the Mr. Miyagi. This movie like focuses on the character without the arc.
Yes.
Even though they do some stuff with the kid, but he's like they show his mom and like how she's kind of treating him and how they want. But even like
you got the cousin who's like his manager,
right? Like social media guy.
Yeah.
And you see him like really care about it. Like they lose a race, like one of the first races they do, and he's like all smiling for the press. Brad Pitt's like, "What are you smiling about? We lost."
Yeah. Like what are you doing? You're not even. The race was still going on. Yeah. He's like, "You're smiling. We wrecked. We're out of the race."
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, his arc is really good. Like, I think he kind of becomes more like Brad Pitt in a better way. Like, he's a better racer because of the experience there.
You see, like, the differences, like, Joshua Pierce is, like, training with, like, breathing tubes as he's running on the track. He's got the light sensing thing and all this high-tech stuff. And you just see Brad Pitt running laps around the facility. He's also got the tennis balls, and he's throwing them, He's got the things. And by the end of it, Joshua Pierce is like, maybe that's what I need to be doing. And he ends up picking up the tennis balls and doing that kind of stuff and running with the pit crew. Because that was a problem, too. Joshua Pierce was so...
He was, like, anti-pit crew.
Yeah, he was just like, you guys are beneath me. And Brad Pitt was like, no one's beneath you. It's a team effort. Yeah. Everyone is here to do their job to make you go as fast as you can, It was just a really good movie, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was very like visceral in the theater too.
It was longer too. I liked how long it was. It was like 2 hours. It felt something?
Yeah. The length was good. It didn't feel super long. The length was the girth could use some work.
Nice and girthy. The music added to the girth. In my
God, the music was like one of the best parts.
Dude, it like punch you in the gut.
Really intense. Yeah.
Hans Zimmer doesn't play around, dude.
So Top Gun Maverick was like the, you would say like legacy sequel to Top Gun.
Yeah.
This felt like a legacy sequel to Days of Thunder, which was Tom Cruise's like NASCAR movie.
Yeah.
This really felt like this is what you would do with something like that too.
Gotcha.
Part of the reason I think Brad Pitt would have really worked, or not Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise really would have worked in Brad Pitt's role in this.
Yeah.
Even. I think that would have been like maybe even better.
No, but Tom Cruise was probably offered the role, and then he was like, I've got all these other movies, just give it to someone else kind of thing.
I bet you could find some pictures of Tom Cruise at the premiere. I think
for sure, Yeah, I bet you him and the director of Top Gun, they probably worked really closely together. And yeah, I think Tom Cruise could have done it. I like seeing Brad Pitt in movies, though, so I'll take it. You know what I mean?
It's made a ton of money, I think, on the opening. It's another one of those dad movies. Mm-hmm. Dads have the money to go see movies.
Oh, yeah, and they'll take all their kids, too. You have to come with me. What are you going to do,
And it's just so funny because it's like, oh, yeah, the old washed-up guy, he's the real hero.
Yes, and they're like, that's me. I could have gone pro.
That's me.
I could have done it.
Speaking of, I guess not, well, I was going to say Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, but Shea Wiggum is in this for like a minute in the very beginning.
Who's that?
The guy that gets punched in the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What was he doing?
He was like the NASCAR leader.
Yeah. Whoa.
In a different world, I was like, because his name was in the credits at the beginning, and I'm like, okay, so I guess Tom Cruise will like recruit him after like the guy leaves from the Formula One team. Mm-hmm. No, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Just kept on going.
Yeah, no one knows.
Yeah.
But
was in there. I'm sure it was like a favor. He probably had like a contract with Apple or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Like, I got to be in one more movie for you guys. Just give me a small role.
Put me something in it. I remember looking at you going, that's the grenade guy, the beans guy from King Kong.
I just love saying Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, that's a
great name, dude.
Great, strong name.
Dog name.
No, I liked to his old buddy who got him back into it was Ruben. I can't remember who's the actor that plays him.
Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem. I looked at you. I was like, nice to see him not in a mermaid costume right now because, geez, that was rough.
You just stand up in the theater and go, "Listen, I'll go in."
Yes. When he's like, there's a moment at the end where like, Brad Pitt's having that moment when he's racing. That he's talking about. Yeah, he's flying. Yeah. And I was like, he could literally get up and yell, "Listen, I'll go in," and it would make so much sense, But no, I really liked his character. For me, it really felt like, and this was where I saw the similarities with the director, because Sonny Hayes is Brad Pitt's character. He felt very much like Maverick from Top Gun, and then Ruben felt like the Iceman over his shoulder, always bailing him out of trouble, kind of thing. And it was a good dynamic, though. It worked really well.
Oh, for sure. Those two, it feels like they do have like a very natural friendship.
Yes, dude. They have such a good chemistry on screen. It was so good.
The Irish lady who was the first woman in the...
And
first,
it didn't feel forced, though.
Yeah,
it felt very good. It didn't feel like any type of like shoehorning your political beliefs or anything.
But what it did feel like was like, oh, this is the obvious love interest.
Oh yeah,
she's like sort of closer to age.
Yes.
She's like an attractive, like kind of hard-headed lady.
Yeah,
I like that scene when they're like playing poker and then it just devolves into them having sex. Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was saying something like that on the ride home. I was talking to Caleb about it. I said, no, that's like the whole MO because both movies of Top Gun Maverick, they had a female flame that would you just go to the next one in the next movie kind of thing. Like Jack Reacher too. Every season, Jack Reacher's got a new flame. And so when she showed up, I said, they're going to fall in love, they're going to make out, and then they're going to split up and never be together again kind of thing. You know what I mean? There
was a little bit of depth between, like, I guess Brad Pitt's character had like a kind of an obsession with racing. It wasn't so much about the money. It was more about, like, he even says that there's a couple instances where several side characters will be like, well, if it's not about the money, what's it about? And he's always like, it just doesn't even answer.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Yeah. He says if it's not about the money, what's it about? And he just kind of smiles and does like a half chuckle, and it's like, no, I'm serious. I'd like to know what it's about.
You haven't told me, and if I'm only money motivated. I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to, because he asked the server at like a diner, and she's like, well, I would ask what it was about. And I was like, thank you, Gandhi. What the saying, lady? Right. Your pie's terrible.
Another, I guess, drawback or not.
So what was it about?
What
was it about?
It's about the thrill of racing. It was about the excitement and his
passion.
That's
what I thought, but I didn't know if it was.
He had a big wreck as a Formula One driver back in his youth.
Back in the 90s.
They had some like really crazy like wig on him. It was like a really big wig.
Crazy, dude. I was like, there's no way that's his real hair.
No shot, dude. But he had a big wreck in like the Spain tour or whatever it was. And then this is not a vape, by the way. Someone said it was a vape the other day. This is a clicker.
Someone called it a vape? What'd they say? Don't vape or something?
They're like, is Hopper vaping? No.
Hopper, you're a vapor, dude?
This controls the camera.
Are you hip with the kids, dog?
No, I'm very uncool. No, so, I like that about his character. The only thing I was kind of thinking about, too, was, like, this is a commercial for F1.
Yeah.
Because it's F1 branded, and they kept, like, bringing it up, and there's all these different things. But it was a good movie. It wasn't like it was forced. I don't think I felt it as an ad. You know what I mean?
It cracked me up, too, because, like, obviously, the Axiom, or what was it, Apex was the team that they were racing for. It was so funny that the announcers for the races, they were all they were talking about was Apex. Yep. And I was just like, I get it because it's for the movie, right? Yeah. But if this was real life and I was anyone else on this like race right now, I'd be like, I've been in first place for like 10 laps. No one's going to talk about that? Hello?
Yeah. I think that's like an omission. Like they just don't talk about, because they'll go from like lap 1 to lap 20.
Yeah.
And all we hear is about Apex. And I'm like, I am kind of like, okay, can we hear a little bit about
and maybe the laps that they tuned into were the only ones they were talking about.
For sure.
But again, I like too, they didn't call the other racers by name. They always called Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pierce, but then they go, Pirelli's in the lead, or Red Bull's taking over from Ferrari. And it's like, I like that though, because then it takes, if you don't do that, if you have the names, it takes away from the characters you're really trying to talk about.
They mentioned one guy, like there was a lady that came up to the younger guy in the club, and she was like, can you introduce me to so-and-so? I think those are real racers too. I think they had a couple real racers show up. Yeah.
But that's the problem too, is like she said that, I was like, who the I don't know who that is, and you're like, that's another racer. I was like, oh.
That makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah. But I was like, I don't know who that is.
No, good feel-good story, sort of an underdog kind of.
Sorry, go ahead.
I call these like riches to rags to riches stories.
Ooh, that's good.
So Brad Pitt had like an accident, then he became like a gambler, washed up, and then he was like racing, NASCAR, which I guess is a lesser sport compared to F1.
It is.
And then you go over to F1, and it's like, oh my God, he's the best in the world now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is funny. I was gonna say one other thing, but you popped in my head. There's like a reporter that's just dogging.
Oh yeah, he's such a douche.
The whole movie. He's just this old British dude who's just, by the way, your wife left you. You lost your kid and your house, and you're a gambling addict. And he's like, and Brad Pitt's like, yeah. What do you want me to say about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like halfway through, Brad Pitt's even like, no more press. I don't want to deal with them. They're assholes. I don't want to talk to them. But what I was going to talk about was it's a feel-good underdog movie. You know how it ends. I'm not going to say how it ends just in case you don't.
You don't, yeah.
I knew how it was going to end. My main thing was like, okay, but who's going to
who's going to cross the
who's going to cross the finish line? Which one? And when they showed the first one, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but I really thought it was going to be the other one. And then they did the switcheroo, and I was like, I can't handle this. You're actually starting to stress me out a little bit because I can't guess, and I love to guess.
It was sort of like a lot of racing technicalities, too. Like, I'm sure this is never, like, F1's probably never this exciting.
No.
But it's like,
it's F1.
That's true. I did watch a documentary on Netflix like several years ago, probably 3 or 4 years now. But it was pretty interesting. It was kind of just talking about like the drama and sort of the interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but you can probably look up F1 Netflix documentary and find it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Very helpful, Hopper. Thank you.
But it's like a bunch of different twists and turns. Like, he crashes into people. He's playing like demolition derby with the car.
Yes, dude.
But that actually helps the other guy because they like will stay out of the box and then whatever. And there is like a kind of a visceral wreck that comes out of nowhere for me.
Yes, bro.
The younger guy wrecks, and then like everyone's blaming Brad Pitt for like making the call, but like he's the Gary Stu. It's not his fault. You know what I mean?
Well, he didn't make the call. He literally said, "Don't pass until I tell you." And
go to the straight.
No, I see it. I'm going to do it, and then he wrecks. What I was going to talk about too, because I talked to Caleb about this, maybe 20 minutes before that happened. Joshua Pierce is watching the old footage of Sonny Hayes, Brad Pitt's character, wrecking. And they very pointedly like, oh, no one's there. He's all by himself kind of thing. He's all alone. You didn't tell me.
Phasers on.
And I was like, oh, that's probably going to come up later. And then it came up 20 minutes later. I was like, okay, that may be too soon. And if they bring it up, I'm not going to be happy. I wanted it to be further down the line. And then they just didn't talk about it. So when the guy wrecks, Joshua Pierce, Sonny Hayes gets out of his car, grabs from the EMTs the thing, and he pulls him out, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is really good. I just wish they'd done it later in the movie so it really sits with you kind of thing. Because this is very important. You know, this is character growth for Sonny. This is for Joshua Pierce to appreciate Sonny, all this stuff. And then it's just completely washed away. No one thinks about it. No one talks about it.
Because he goes to the hospital, and then it's just like a montage of Sonny getting better. You know?
And then also, listen, I don't care how arrogant someone is. There's no way that Joshua Pierce gets his life literally saved by Sonny, and his first race back, he sabotages Sonny. Yeah. There's no way. You, at least for the first race, you owe some sort of life debt in your mind. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny is, too, he was blaming, I think, Brad Pitt's character, and then, like, he kind of runs a simulation later on and was like, oh, he was right. I made the mistake.
Yes.
Like, I think he was really believing that Sonny had kind of screwed him over.
Yeah.
But realistically, it was, you know, I think he had just kind of taken it himself and was trying to be the selfish kind of player.
But it blows my mind that they really thought that part didn't. I know it's a movie, right? But that part just really took me out of it because I'm like, this guy literally saved you from a burning car, and you're instantly gonna wreck him off the road. Like that doesn't make much sense, man. Like, give it a race or two at least. You know what I mean?
Because he was so self-absorbed and he was so into like the media.
Yeah.
And everyone loved Brad Pitt by this point when he came back like 3 weeks later or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think he was getting a lot of frustration, you know, taken out.
And it shows Sonny's growth too, because he's like, look, I don't care if you mess me up, but don't throw Ruben under the bus. Don't throw this team under the bus. They've worked too damn hard for you to mess this up for them. You know what I mean? But no, the emotion too. Brad Pitt really sold the emotion. Joshua Pierce sold the emotion. Really great acting. I don't think there was a weak link. Even like the secondary characters in the pit crew, you know, like there was a female character who was like manning the tire put on station.
Very well said. Couldn't have said it better myself.
And she messed up a few times putting the tires on.
Yeah.
She put them on too slow.
And then you get
and then she got faster.
They were like, you're the worst. But then Brad Pitt kind of defends her and she says, don't defend me. I'll look weak.
Yeah. And he's like, well, don't on yourself. They're already doing that. Yeah. You know, just get better or shut the fuck up.
I do like that about like teams in general. I played football in high school and we were awful because no one liked each other.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of what you get from like a team dynamic is like everyone's got to be of the same mind. And they all got to be together. Like there's several points where Brad Pitt tells them, he's like, be ready. Like, you know, I'm going to go cause a distraction and Joshua's got to get his tires changed or whatever.
Yeah. No, it was really good. It kind of took it away from me a little bit because, like, Maverick with Top Gun, I'm going to compare the two. I just can't help it. Yeah. He was naturally gifted, obviously. He was a great flyer. He didn't rely on these weird, like, cheap tricks, you know? He was just really skilled fighter pilot.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you tell us that Sonny is the best, you know, he just missed his opportunity with the wreck. I don't like that he's defaulting. But it could also be said because of their car was like an inferior car. Yeah. Like in the straightaways and just with speed and overall tire performance and stuff, their car was not the best.
They were calling it a box.
Yeah, and they did one minor adjustment that did help, but for the most part, they were not the best car.
Yep.
Which, again, does do a parallel with Top Gun because in both movies, the enemy fighters were always, they had better jets than them too. Yeah. So you can see the similarities there too.
Yeah. It parallels a good movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's not like it's making like there was an era where like every movie was like a spoof movie, and those weren't good, but they just all kept like regurgitating because they're making money.
Yeah.
This is like okay, a good movie made money. Let's just do a good movie again.
They really did used to just pop out spoof movies.
It was like romance movie, epic movie, disaster movie. It was like none of them were good, but they were making money, I guess, for them to keep making.
They said, "Oh, the scary movies did well. Let's do it for every genre."
Absolutely.
They were terrible. I remember specifically there was two scenes I saw like on the trailers and stuff. One was Magneto was walking out and there's a big magnet on his head.
By a cow or something?
Yes, and then another one was Superman was walking and got shot in the eye with the bullet. Like from
like,
Superman
it
Returns.
Hurts.
He goes, that hurts,
it's like the most obvious jokes you can make. Like,
yeah. Man, those were terrible.
Terrible.
Not like F1 though. For real, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go watch it. If you have, what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below. Kind of a longer Beyond the Binge, but we were thinking about doing our own podcast just for this episode, but we were like, we'll just pop it out. It'll be on the overall podcast, and it'll have its own separate segment later on in the show or in the week. So stay tuned for that if you're listening with the podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the noti. Let's thank our sponsors. Hopper, who are they?
Thank you, Glenn F. and Gavin. Gavin really is like one of our best supporters. Like, he really shows up.
Yeah, shout out to Gavin. I give him a hard time, but thank you. And if you guys want to become a member, the link will be down in the description below. Until next time, we'll see you later.